When you hear the word microeconomics, you probably think about markets, right? Buying, selling, prices, all that stuff. But what if I told you that to really get a handle on your own life, you need a much bigger map? Turns out everything we do, every single day, plays out across three very, very different worlds.
I mean, just think about your day so far. Did you buy a coffee? Pay for gas? Maybe you're already thinking about that rent or mortgage payment that's just around the corner. It's super easy to see our lives as just one long string of transactions.
And the standard economic way of looking at things kind of says, yep, that's it. It has a tendency to boil our complicated lives down to the simple logic of the marketplace. But that can't be everything, can it? There's just got to be more to what we do than just what we buy and sell. So, to get the full picture, we have to look beyond the market. We need a bigger framework, one that actually makes room for all the ways we interact with the world and with each other. And you'll see it's actually a pretty simple idea. It all comes down to the number 3. Our lives, from the minute we wake up till we go to sleep, are basically a constant navigation between 3 totally distinct worlds of human action. So let's break them down. All right, first up, we've got the one we all know best, the market. This is the world of commerce. It runs on prices, its main motivation is profit, and it's all about efficiency. It's where we trade stuff for money. It's absolutely essential, but it's only 1/3 of the story.
The second world is the state. This is the world of rules, laws, and all the big institutions. It's the government that protects our property rights and makes sure contracts are enforced. Basically, it builds the stable foundation that the market needs to even exist. It's always there, kind of operating in the background of our lives. And this brings us to the third, and you could argue the most important world, civil society. This is the world of family, of friendship, of community groups, all those voluntary things we do. It doesn't run on money, and it doesn't run on force. It runs on persuasion, on mutual support, on love. I mean, you don't pay your friend to hang out, right?
Now here's the really critical part. Each of these 3 worlds isn't just different in what it does, but in how it does it. Each one has its own unique and often totally incompatible set of rules. Think of them like different operating systems for how we interact. Just look at the market and civil society. The market's currency is price. Civil society's is the gift. The market's logic is all about scarcity and discipline. Civil society's is all about generosity and community. They are fundamentally different, and boy do problems start when we get their rules mixed up. Let's just try a little thought experiment. Imagine a restaurant decides to run itself using the rules of civil society. It gives away all its food as a gift to anyone who walks in. It would be an amazing, friendly place for about a day. Then it would go bankrupt. The rules of generosity just can't keep a business afloat.
Okay, now let's flip it, and this is where you see the real danger. Imagine a family that operates on market rules. Parents charge their kids for dinner, and at the end of the day, try to sell them a kiss goodnight. The whole idea is just grotesque. It's not just inefficient, it's morally wrong. It would completely destroy the very thing that makes a family a family. So the bottom line is this. Trying to apply the logic of one world to another doesn't just make things not work. It can be incredibly destructive. That price system that works so well for allocating resources in the market, it's a poison when you apply it to the bonds of family and friendship. And listen, this isn't just some abstract idea. These worlds are crashing into each other all the time in the real world, and it creates some serious friction and consequences none of us intended. Think about the relationship between the state and civil society. Over the last century, as the modern welfare state has grown, it's taken over a lot of the jobs that voluntary groups used to do: charity, community help, you name it. And as the state steps in, those local organizations can start to lose their purpose. The community bonds they create get weaker. The source material uses a really powerful word for this. The state can actually asphyxiate civil society.
If you want a really stark example, just look at former communist countries. It was literally the stated goal of the party to control every single part of life. Independent groups, from chess clubs to churches, even the family itself, were all seen as threats that had to be controlled or just plain eliminated. The state was the only world that was supposed to matter. And the tension between the state and the market? Well, that's just as complex. When markets fail, or when they produce results we don't like huge inequality, we call on the state to step in with rules or redistribution. But that's a super delicate balancing act, because the state is playing by a totally different rule book than the market it's trying to fix.
So this three-world model gives us a much richer, much more accurate map of how our society really works. It helps us see all the different forces at play. But that map has a huge piece missing. There's a critical gap in how we understand the whole thing.
And it's so important to remember why this all matters. A truly good life needs more than just what we can buy. The market itself can't even exist without the rule of law that the state provides. And a life that's only about economics and politics is pretty empty without the love, friendship, and community we can only find in civil society. You absolutely need all three.
So here is the crucial point. For over 200 years, economics has built these incredibly sophisticated theories to help us understand the market. And political science has done the exact same thing for the state. We have detailed models for 2 of the 3 worlds.
But for civil society, that world of family, of community, of voluntary groups, we don't really have a powerful theory like that. It's often just treated like an afterthought, or it's ignored. We just don't have a solid framework for understanding the very world that gives our lives most of their meaning. Which leaves us with a final, really important question. In our big quest to understand the systems of money and power that shape our world, have we maybe forgotten to properly understand the system of human connection that makes living in that world worthwhile in the first place? Something to think about.